No,
for synergizing ideas. It's really
that's right. You're so jacked, you're busting out of your shirts. I'm just gonna slurp macaroni and cheese. Jolie, you're just gonna silently judge us the whole time. Is that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Something for everyone.
That's right.
I'll be the one that is like getting paid to demean men or people who want to be whose feelings they want hurt, because apparently I'm real good at that.
Have you watched Euphoria?
Oh yes.
You would be perfect. They have one of the high schoolers on there that like she gets known to be like that, where she like men pay her like $400 an hour to like criticize how small their dicks are and stuff. And I'm like, whoa,
man alive. Yeah.
Sign me up.
And no kink shaming. I don't get it, but you know, whatever floats your boat for sure.
Oh, I don't judge at all. I'm thinking, how do I get in that position where I can be paid that? That's what I want to know.
Which though, to be the humiliated one or to be the one that's doing the humiliating? Like which?
Doing the humiliation.
Yeah. That's fine. That I could do all day, but I don't know if I could pay somebody to tell me how tiny my dick is. That seems counterintuitive. I'm having some cognitive,
to the way that I live.
Yeah, I have some cognitive dissonance going on with this. Like, I'm giving you money and you're making me feel like a tiny dick piece of shit. I don't know why this is a thing, but hey, again, no kink shaming, no judging.
No, that's cool.
Yes,
whatever
viewer, if that's your thing, by all means.
I don't think that I'd be able to like carry on for a long time because I can't take myself seriously.
Well, and how many different ways can you tell a guy he's got a tiny dick? You know what I mean? Like, there's not like there's only like you're whipping out the thesaurus. There's only so many different ways you can say small, pathetic, and tiny before.
You have to start getting into like colorful comparisons, like, oh my god, you can't even plug a sinking boat with that dick, like stuff like that. You have to get into like scenarios, I think.
Yeah,
but that's when it gets to Jolie's point where it's like I wouldn't be able to take myself seriously. I'd laugh because I'm like, that's really funny. That's
but isn't that kind of part and parcel of it though? Like you're laughing at them. I mean, you're truly laughing at yourself, but I mean,
it can be like I think some people prefer. We say this like we know. I don't know, but some people might prefer.
This is for the OnlyFans, man. We have to research this and figure out. We're gonna fully take advantage of the monetization.
Right.
Late stage capitalism. We're considering all options on the table, folks.
Work the room, man. Absolutely.
Welcome to the Full Volume Podcast, where we are currently discussing other career paths.
It's the nicest way you could have said that.
Yeah, I mean, I was at like Business Jolie is still in my brains. I was at a chamber awards dinner last night where, by the way, I was one of 4 people in a room of probably 300 wearing a mask.
Really?
Yeah.
So if I get COVID again for the 3rd time, I'm going to know exactly where I got it.
So, sorry, 2-time COVID champion, 1-time COVID champion. Geoff, what's your stat? Oh, we got a 0 on the show.
Stealth.
Zilcho. I mean, I've only been tested a couple of times. I've done a home test and I've done a PCR test, and both of them came back negative. So, and I haven't really had anything in the way of symptoms throughout the whole thing. So, yeah, I work in a warehouse. It's a giant 500,000 square foot warehouse, and there's only about 100 of us in there.
Yeah.
So there's no interacting with the public. So I'm just seeing the same people in and out every day. But I have my own area where I work almost completely independently. So I just don't interact with the humans a whole lot. So I think it's really helped.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you don't want it. It's not fun.
No, I've heard it's like super. Now, mind you, I'm triple vaxxed or whatever. So from what I gather, the more vaccinations you have, the less impactful it is on you, I guess. But
yeah. Still, I'm triple vaxxed too, and Jolie is too, and I whipped my ass for a few days. Yeah,
I did.
Did not like it.
And Brent has like a strong, healthy, young heart, and. I mean, we drank it into a coma a couple times, a couple New Year's, but
yeah, we had a lot of pizza back in the day, a lot of cheeser, a lot of garlic wings, all higgly piggly on top.
Have you ever put chicken wings on top of garlic cheese bread?
No, but I have made a pizza with chicken nuggets on the pizza.
That's
yeah.
Now we're talking.
We used Frank's Red Hot instead of pizza sauce, and then the cheese, and then we put chicken nuggets and mac and cheese on top, and that's how we ate it. We were drunk and high, but it was fucking delicious.
I feel like that would also wreak havoc on your digestive system.
Oh, 100%. No, we paid the price. Of course, absolutely. And I couldn't do that now at 48. Like I did that at like 32 or whatever. And even then it was a nightmare. But now, yeah, no, I would be down for a week.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
once your body reaches a certain threshold, and everyone's right, it's 35.
Right.
I started experiencing ridiculous heartburn, like in the daytime.
Zantac becomes your friend.
Right? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, all I had was a sparkling water. And that was enough to set it off.
Yeah.
And then the knees went after that. And then I stretched in the morning as I usually do. And I proceeded to throw my back out.
Oh, the worst is hurting your back while sneezing.
Oh,
Oh my sweet summer children.
right? Geoff is like, welcome.
My young, sweet
welcome."
kids over there. I can hurt myself napping, guys. Don't play. All right.
Yeah.
It's awful.
I napped wrong. There was
Yeah.
a toy
Yeah.
in the couch.
Do you remember a time when you would hurt yourself and people would ask you, oh, how did you hurt yourself? And you would have like a story to impart to them about how the injury occurred. And now it's literally, how did you hurt yourself? And I'm like, well, I went to bed. Fine. And I woke up and I can't turn my head. I don't know what to tell you. It's
completely broken.
yeah. I cannot function as an adult human. So yeah.
Speaking of completely broken.
Oh.
Master of segues.
I think we have gathered all here today to give our opinion on episode 3 of Moon Knight on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
That was over dramatic. It's not completely broken. I don't know. I have opinions. I actually purposely did not listen to your episode with Josh Marvell last week because I didn't want it to influence the way my narrative is going with this show.
Okay.
So I had no idea what you and Josh said last week on purpose because I didn't want it to like sully me. But I have opinions. I don't know if anybody. I sounds like Geoff also has strong opinions because he elected to come on today. So
I made one comment on one post Jolie made, and she was like, "Oh, bitch, you're coming on the podcast. That's what's happening."
Sign him up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a lot. I mean, I have a couple episodes worth to catch up on. Jolie, did you want to start, or how do you think we should handle this delicate retelling of this episode?
Well, here's the thing. Last time you had to recap the episode is because I couldn't remember it.
Okay.
Well, or I think we were both really tired. I've seen this episode like 3 times.
Oh wow,
Okay.
good for you.
And
I only watched it when it came out a couple of days ago. It's still pretty fresh in my mind. So
okay, maybe Geoff can do. Maybe our astute guest can do it because here's the thing: I've seen it 3 times, and I couldn't tell you what happened.
Okay, there's. I want to like hold on to that comment, but no, I agree. Geoff, how do you feel about talking about the episode, or do you want one of us to do it?
I didn't prepare.
That's okay.
Okay.
We never prepare.
No. I mean, I'm sure I could muddle my way through it, but I don't remember the specific beats to the episode. I just remember, the broad strokes type of thing. So
let's broad stroke this bitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the episode starts. Oh.
Ethan Hawke, go.
Who wants to go?
All right.
Brent,
get in there, Brett.
Harrow. Ethan Hawke, our beloved, quiet, menacing villain Ethan Hawke, playing Harrow. They discover the location of Amit's tomb in the desert, which, by the way, I'm already going to know a sidetrack. Not filmed in Egypt, definitely filmed in Jordan. That's okay. Desert to white people. We don't notice. In Cairo, that's when we have Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. They're experiencing blackouts while also trying to track Harrow, like track his footprints, so to speak. So they're constantly, going after, I guess we'll call them bandits or, associates of Harrow. They keep blacking out too as they, try to gain information from these associates of Harrow, and they end up killing them. There's some questionable, I guess it's like a mini mystery in terms of why both of them keep blacking out, whether it's Spectre or Grant, but there is blackouts. I assume Konshu might behind it, but this is just a recap in broad strokes. After that, we get Konshu actually meeting in a council. I think it was in Giza. I could be wrong, but he meets in a council with many fellow human avatars of the Egyptian gods, and he warns them of Arthur Harrow's plans, which is to awaken and resummon Amit. And this, again, Little bit of a excuse me, COVID cough. A little bit of a sidetrack. I don't know how Harrow was just right there as he like accused him. They're like, okay, bring the accused forward. Like, was he waiting in the wings? Whatever. And so Harrow basically is not successfully, accused. He denies the accusation. After that, we get Hathor's avatar, which is Yatzil, telling Mark Spector to find the sarcophagus of a Medjay who knew of the location of Amit's tomb, which, again, okay. Layla finds Mark Spector and takes him to meet with Anton Mogart, who we know from the comics plays Midnight Man. And that's an acquaintance of Layla's who owns the sarcophagus, of the Medjay. And this leads into a whole scene of jousting in the middle of the desert, which is interesting. And Harrow arrives and basically bargains with Midnight Man. I shouldn't be calling him that because the show doesn't refer to him as that, but it is what it is. Harrow arrives, he bargains with with Anton, and he destroys the sarcophagus of the Medjay, forcing Mark and Steven and Layla to fight off Anton's men and escape the desert. And they do. Lots of jousting deaths, which we'll get into, I'm sure. And then Stephen Grant gets tapped into. They switch back and forth between Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, and Stephen Grant's expertise is really aligning up the constellations in order to geolocate the sarcophagus and basically kind of map out the stars where to look for it. Konshu uses his powers to briefly turn the night sky back to the correct night, which was like 2,000 years ago, which we got some shoddy exposition about as well. And then they end up finding Amit's tomb. Sorry, they didn't find the sarcophagus. They ended up using that to geolocate Amit's tomb. And then the other gods, in response, imprison Konshu in a little statue, which I believe is called a Ushabti. And that leaves Stephen Grant and Mark Spector's body unconscious and powerless. And so that's the episode in broad strokes, per half Wikipedia, per half me, which I honestly needed the help of Wikipedia because I don't think I could have recapped it all the way it was paced and blocked out and written. So I suppose we start at the top. Geoff, what's your general broad opinions of this episode?
It's a mess, much like the show kind of has been up until now. I don't want to get too deep into things, but there's some extraordinarily tropey things that happen in this episode that literally had my eyes rolling in disgust. I was just so mad. I'm like, you have opportunities to make this a different show. Your protagonist is already such a gigantic departure from everything else that's been done. So you have an opportunity to be brave and bold and try new things. And none of that happened. All the same tired tropes occurred. And what really blew me away by the time we were done with this episode is we're already halfway through.
I know.
There's only 6 episodes. So Jolie, what's happening? What am I missing? Am I missing something? Like, is there...
Excuse me. So admittedly, both Brent and I know very little about Moon Knight going into this, right?
Right. Same.
Except for we are finding that there are a lot of parallels to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of the Egyptian mythology thing, right? So like there we can meet a quarter of the way there
right.
with the Egyptian mythology and what little I remember from like 10th grade. But I honestly I don't know if from what I gather from the comic book world is that they're trying to piece together parts of the Warren Ellis storyline and Jeff Lemire's storyline and kind of mush them together, and it's creating a giant mess when they really should have just picked one Moon Knight story and retold it.
Right.
Do a retelling. Because quite honestly, up until now, I was sort of excited for the show. The last episode I enjoyed, and then like they lead out. Me and Josh were going on about how like the music is great. It's nice to finally hear just like a like different cultural languages or different cultures musical soundtracks, and then we were really interested to see, because the director is Egyptian, how he would play Arabic characters. But like you were saying going into this episode, one of the things that Josh said was it's nice to see Arabic men not be the enemy or henchmen or terrorists in the show, and wouldn't you know, that's what they fucking are in this episode. And I was like, oh, it's a good thing we mentioned that last time, because oops, here, like cliche number one, they're all henchmen for the white avatar of Ethan Hawke. Is he supposed to be white, or are they playing him off as like potentially POC?
Oh, Ethan Hawke?
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to be white.
Okay.
I didn't really think about that dynamic until you said it, but I guess it is a little bit weird that, but we've also, to Marvel's detriment, we've seen the tired trope in other media of the middle-aged white male cult leader before. Would have been a little more interesting to see, maybe a different ethnicity and the dynamics at play there. But I have to say, in Ethan Hawke's defense, I do think Ethan Hawke is not the problem of this show.
No, he's not.
Not even close. I don't even think. Sorry, go ahead. I cut you off.
Oh no, go. No.
I was gonna say, not even his writing is fine. His acting is, I'd say, above fine. I think he's actually one of the minor positives of the show. That leads me to the other major aspect of the show, which is Oscar Isaac. I was kind of like whatever about him the first couple episodes. I thought he was fine. Mm-hmm. This episode, I'm leaning more towards him being quite a good actor, but his writing is abysmal. Oh my God. The transitions between Mark Spector and Stephen Grant and the pretense behind it, specifically, for the past, episode and a half now, where they've been arguing about who controls the body. And Stephen Grant is so pissed that he's basically been locked up again. And all of a sudden he's willing to help them deconstruct this constellation map as soon as they switch bodies, and he's not going to just run away like he's been threatening to do. The writing frustrates me. It's annoying. And it's frankly kind of insulting. It's all of a sudden his motivations and his pretense just switched as soon as the plot needed him to. Mm-hmm. It felt like I was furrowing my brow in that scene in the desert where all of a sudden they switch bodies and he's folding the constellations and mapping them up to locate where the tomb of Amit is. He wasn't interested in that 5 minutes ago. He wanted to get the hell out of Dodge and go back to the UK. He has no interest in any of this crap. And all of a sudden he's helping them do this. I don't know. And they're clearly using Stephen Grant as the exposition. He's the one providing the background information on Egyptian mythology, which is supposed to be relayed to us as the viewers.
Right.
Which I appreciate. It's just so it's so in your face that that's why he's there at this point.
Yeah.
And this is, I read that this was supposed to be a character study. The biggest character study in the MCU since Iron Man, and I'm just not seeing that at this point. I'm just seeing very lazy writing that's leading to, we need a badass, let's switch to Mark Spector. Now we need exposition, let's switch to Stephen Grant. And then, we need some nefariousness, let's switch to Konshu. It's just, it's not working for me. The whole multiple personalities in a body. Maybe I'm missing something, but that's so far the trajectory of the show. It's written very inappropriately.
Up until now, they had handled his dissociative disorder very accurately, I would say. And according to people who do suffer from the condition, it was very validating.
Okay.
And up until now, up until the third episode, where they just like you said, when they needed a badass, they pulled out Mark. When they needed an archaeologist, they pulled out Steven. And then when they needed an absolute killer, they hinted at neither Steven or Mark being the one to brandish the knife. There's no guns. But so there's a fourth altar we haven't met yet, which is a mystery that I don't care to know about anymore, since they decided to destroy everything they've built up until now for his character. Geoff, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, do either of you particularly like Konshu? Because I'm not sure I like him, and I'm not sure if we're supposed to be rooting for him.
And I think they're trying to do a little bit of a duality with Konshu, and I think that's what led into you're supposed to buy into the meeting of all the gods, and them essentially dismissing Konshu's claims right away because he's this rogue element, and none of the other gods have any respect for him. So then you too are not supposed to have enough respect for him that you buy in that these very, very powerful ancient Egyptian gods uh, can't tell when someone's lying or telling the truth, which for me was one of the biggest tropes ever. They bring in the bad guy, and the bad guy goes, "No, I'm not the bad guy. I'm the good guy." And all the gods go, "Yep, that sounds about right." And everyone goes on their merry way. I mean, literally, Khonshu literally makes the sky spin 2,000 years in reverse.
Oh.
Like, that's how powerful these gods are, but no one can tell when this white dude with long, bad 80s glam hair is lying. Like, it's so tropically ridiculous. And it's so frustrating, like Brent's saying, it's so frustrating because it's lazy, awful, terrible writing that they're just, well, we have to make it so that the bad guy has this motivation, and we have to make it so everybody knows that he's there, but nobody believes he's truly the bad guy.
Yeah.
So what was he doing wandering around the desert if he wasn't going after Amet's tomb? Like, why would they just automatically dismiss Khonshu's ideas? Because they've already established that Khonshu's not to be trusted and he's a rogue element. And so, yeah, we're supposed to kind of feel the same way so that we buy that narrative in that meeting, but I don't, because it's stupid. And we're ultimately going to find out that Khonshu, well, we already know Khonshu's been right the whole time. So
we've gone with them on their journey.
Dumb. And where was Ra? Does anybody know?
I did not. Yeah, they didn't mention. They mentioned Osiris. They mentioned Isis. They
Horus.
did not mention Ra.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. I mean, we're talking Egyptian gods, right? I'm not big on Egyptian mythology either, but I mean, it's Ra. It's pretty
the biggest one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just anyway. That's an aside. I was just curious.
Maybe they're waiting to blow their sun god load later, because it's like he got
a lot
everyone's
of later left. There's only 3 more episodes of this show. And by the way, I want to while we're in this, I want to point out my biggest gripe throughout the whole damn thing. In this episode 3, I actually timed it this time. Moon Knight does not appear until minute 32, and he's on screen for 3 minutes. In episode 2, Moon Knight does not appear until minute 35, and he's on the screen for about 3 or 4 minutes. And in episode 1, Moon Knight does not appear until the final 4 seconds of the episode. So I made a post on my story on Instagram, and I was just mimicking Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. Like, you do eventually plan to have Moon Knight on your show called Moon Knight, right? Like, I understand it's meant to be a character study, and I do like what Oscar Isaac is doing with what he's been given. I think he's a tremendous actor, and he's, even like we talked about, his real name is Oscar Isaac, I think Cortez Hernandez or something, but he's very culturally ambiguous as what he refers to himself as. And so that's cool that he can play a bunch of different roles, but holy shit, it's called Moon Knight. And collectively, we've had about 6 minutes of Moon Knight over 3 episodes. Like, are we going to get some actual more Moon Knight in the show called Moon Knight? Or
there's more yelling at him to call the suit than there is actual suiting. So
it's starting to feel very Boba Fett. I'm just saying, that's how it's starting to feel.
Don't get me started on the tuxedo version of Moon Knight that Steven summons.
Is abhor too much of a word? Is it not quite enough? Is it?
Don't enjoy it.
So bad? No,
Don't enjoy it.
No.
I don't know, but I don't want to say it's all bad. Like I actually, Layla's obviously a little underwritten, but I also think she's a minor positive for the show. We're getting a strong female character. There's clearly history between her and Mark Spector. They used to be married. And they gave a little bit of that exposition this episode where they apparently Mark has been attached to Konshu even at the beginning of their relationship, which I find is interesting because it's basically a big foundational lie at the basis of their failed marriage, which I'm sure might come back later to haunt them. We also learned that Konshu was interested in Layla as his next avatar.
And that's basically his holdover Mark, essentially, right?
Yeah. And that's, but also too, that gives like another, I guess, layer to Konshu. But again, I don't know if I like it. Where like Konshu's kind of a douchebag, and I get, he's kind of an asshole, and he's kind of nefarious, and he has good means, but he's kind of like he's an anti-hero. You know, he's gonna get to a good end, but he doesn't care who he screws over to get to that end. He's very nefarious, threatening. Let's hold this guy over the edge by his scarf, and he'll talk. And then the guy cuts the scarf. Like Konshu doesn't give a shit. Who dies in his path, and he's. It's just it. It's just very. I don't know. I'm conflicted. Like I don't like Khonshu right now, but I also know he's supposed to be the hero, so I'm waiting for some sort of minor redemption arc, maybe some sort of minor face turn or tweener. But right now he's a heel still.
Trotting out those wrestling terms. I've been waiting the whole time. I'm like, it's 27 minutes in and I haven't heard one wrestling term yet. Come on.
I can leave the room so you guys can go at it if you like.
Also for the OnlyFans. Absolutely. Just sitting here talking wrestling talk the whole time. That'll sell really well. Which leads me to the next episode. So clearly Khonshu's been imprisoned. So does that mean now Stephen / Mark / the third altar will not have access to the suit or the powers therein because they're provided by Khonshu, and he is now captured and imprisoned by the gods?
So what I'm hearing is we're going to have even less screen time for Moon Knight in episode 4.
It seems like, but I think to your point about a redemption arc, I think that's what it's going to probably be, is when they do bust Khonshu out of his imprisonment, he will have had a bit of a change of heart because of the imprisonment and seeing, the consequences of his actions per se with the other gods and such. So I assume that would be the tropey way to do it. And if the show has proven anything, is they're definitely cool with doing it the tropey way. So.
Oh yeah. And that's actually probably a good thing to bring up, is that we have no redemption arcs or redemption pieces of an arc in this episode for Khonshu. Because we also do find out that Arthur used to be his avatar and he was done wrong by Khonshu, but we don't know how. And it's like, okay, so I don't know who I'm supposed to root for at this point. Maybe it's another bad part of the writing. Because like Brent mentioned, he's supposed to be the hero of the piece. When is he going to be redeemed? I don't know, because they keep writing him to be sort of shitty. But
I think that was part of the exposition dump in the second episode, talking about the difference between Khonshu is the one that punishes evildoers, but Amet punishes them before they've even committed the evil. Which of the two, some rage against a little killing in the name of, right? So I think that's supposed to be your moral barometer to figure out who's the good guy and who's the not as good guy or bad guy or whatever you want to put it. But you're right. They blurred some lines on this for sure.
So maybe Arthur moved on himself from Khonshu to be the avatar of
of Amet.
Yeah. Of someone who's a little more
proactive.
Proactive is a good word.
We like that. We like proactive. Yeah. Proactive enough that she's already been imprisoned by the gods as well, right? So
the irony of that all.
Right. So, which is why it's so funny that when Harrow showed up, all the gods were like, no, it's fine. He's totally not doing that. It's okay. Anyways, what were we talking about, guys? Let's break for lunch.
Yeah.
What?
No, never mind. I know what they were doing at the end now. Sorry. Imprisoning him. I get it. Sorry.
Yeah. The little doll there.
It's like, were they also involved in the spinning of time? No, they were in the middle of doing something. But honestly, oh God, I don't know.
So what would have to happen now? Like, what would have to happen? Sorry, Brett, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I think you had the more appropriate direction for like what would have to happen now. I assume episode 4. Okay, so we know Khonshu is trapped. I think maybe, like you said, episode 4 is going to be the start of the redemption, the start of the face turn, perhaps, where we're going to start getting, I guess, more of that inner dialogue and justification for why Khonshu is the way he is. I think they have to go that direction in order for us to find this story to be fulfilling by the end of episode 6. I think that has to be the goal of episode 4, is really get us on board with what Khonshu wants to do, because I'm still not 100% invested in his mission. Personally.
Agreed.
I think that's the goal of episode 4. I don't know what's going to happen with Mark and Steven, if we're going to see more of that. Who's occupying the body at the end of episode 3? Was it Steven?
I believe it was Steven. It was Steven in the suit that you hate that helped turn back time.
Yeah. Yes. So, So I don't know if they're going to have more dialogue between Steven and Mark. I don't know. I don't know if I want more of that, to be honest. again, I didn't listen to episode 2, but I was by the like mid episode 2, I'm like, just freaking hand the body over already. Like I was like, stop putting up such a fuss.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want more of their interactions, but maybe it's necessary to move the story forward. I don't know. I want to learn a little bit more now. I think about Layla's marriage to Mark, and I guess in the whole,
Yeah.
you know, about her father and how that all came to play. Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, because clearly he was able to suppress whatever other personalities were in him long enough to meet Layla, start a relationship with Layla, get married to Layla, and then ask Layla for a divorce. And Layla has zero clue he's suffering from this disorder.
yeah,
Right?
but maybe that's actually the point where us as an audience can relate. Maybe that is something that they can expand upon in episode 4 is people being in a relationship with someone that has an undiagnosed disorder, and you know how that can be challenging on a relationship. I think that would be actually a worthy conversation to have, you know, for both sides. That would be
Agreed.
nice if they expanded upon that. I would find the series more fulfilling, and maybe we're just being too hasty to judge, and maybe that will come by the end of episode 6. That would make it feel very fulfilling.
Agreed. It just makes what you're talking about now, where they just get to switch willy-nilly back and forth whenever they want, seemingly now. It takes away from that if he was able to build a whole relationship and she's completely unaware the entire time, but now it's just like, oh, I'm Steven. Oh, I'm Mark. Oh, I'm the guy that's killing everybody. Oh, I'm back to Steven, because we'll just get whatever we need out of it. For me, there's some cognitive dissonance there for sure, but
Yeah, especially.
It feels like it's servicing the plot when it should be servicing the
no,
character.
100%.
And up until this point, exactly, because until this point, it has not serviced the character. The character is just finding out that they live amongst other people inside one body. So it really did not make sense, the rapidity in which he was switching between people.
Yeah.
It was cool. Visually, it was cool. And the use of mirrors and mirror metaphors is like a love of theorists, and they'll probably talk about this till they are blue in the face and there's no more paper left to write on. But like, come on.
No,
like,
and I think they've tried to do a good job too with Harrow as well, because I think they're trying to go the Thanos route with him a little bit, is they're trying to make him a little bit more relatable. Because even though his methodology is terrible, he's created this utopia where crime rates bottomed out and food is free and everybody's exchanging recipes and everybody's living seemingly in this harmonious utopian little society that he's built, mostly through fear and death and such. But still, I think they're trying to make the villains now in Marvel a little bit more ambiguous, because a lot of those early Marvel films were just mustache twirling forgettables that nobody really cared about. And now, since Thanos, it's more, let's give them some depth. Let's give them some other motivations.
Let's give them like maybe a fan base.
Right?
Yeah.
Even with that terrible, terrible hair.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did you notice when he was in the desert and he had the wrap on his head? He looked a lot more like Ethan. Like, that hair is so much of that character's personality that as soon as that hair wasn't available anymore, I'm like, oh shit, that's Ethan Hawke. Yeah, it's it. Okay, good. I'm glad it wasn't just me. I'm gonna grab a drink, guys. I'm gonna be like 2 seconds. One.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. Like, if I had to place it right now, I know I don't want to like shoot our wad on our updated MCU Disney Plus TV show tier list, but I think it would be at the moment below Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Ooh. I would put it on the same tier.
Yeah.
And then right behind this episode for sure.
Yes, but I mean, this also, Moon Knight, the TV show also has the advantage of being quite low on the stock right now, that it has a chance to come, has a chance to get better.
So yeah, speaking of its ranking in space and time, okay, here's the thing I really loved about it going in, and I feel like I'm betraying myself by saying these awful things this time about it, but it's like I was really enjoying not speculating and hunting for Easter eggs and trying to connect it to the larger MCU. But now it seems like they're kind of like, remember they slipped in that little sentence about Madripoor?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
I was like, God damn it. Can they just like leave the rest of the MCU alone for like 5 minutes?
No. I know Mike L agrees with you too. He wants he wants the shows to be a little more segmented. I gathered from our last podcast with him. So I'll be honest, I didn't hate the Madripoor reference maybe as much. I'm glad it was no more than just the word.
Yeah.
Like anything more would have been, I'd be like, okay, let's get, but I'm okay with the one offbeat reference, but I would not be surprised if we got another MCU reference by the end of episode 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially
Because then
with
you
all
get all
this,
the
like,
neckbeards that come out and they're like, well, where was blah, blah, blah when the world was coming to an end on Moon? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you'll always get those people. So Marvel likes to kind of like season their episodes with little, and you guys are right. They've barely done it with this one. It's very, very self-contained. Like, we don't even know when this is happening.
I was just going to say, watch we find out what happened to Moon Knight during the snap in episode 6.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is this pre-blip? Is this post-blip? Like, who knows? So... yeah.
Good God, help
Does it only
me.
blip away some of his alters? Does it blip him away totally? Like, who knows?
Oh my, that's an interesting. I wonder if it only blipped away like, just
Maybe,
Steven or just
maybe,
Mark.
yeah, maybe that's why he was Mark for so long and was able to get married to Layla. Maybe Steven got blipped away.
Oh
Oh,
no.
I think I would hate that. I think that would infuriate me.
It would be the
infuriate you?
laziest writing that there's ever been.
I would also have to stand that, like, ironically though, because it's so like the audacity to do that.
the Lion, the Witch, and the audacity of this bitch.
Oh man, the nerve of that. I would hate it so much that I would like it.
I would
So
hate
bad
it so
it's good.
much we would get t-shirts made.
That's right.
Where were you
100%.
during the flip? Like, I would love that.
Sign me down. I want 2. I want 2 t-shirts.
Okay.
Both medium. Yeah.
All right. So if you hate it just as much as we did, let us know. It is
I don't-
fullvolumepod@gmail.com.
Before you do the sign off, I thought we were getting back into episode ratings. Out of
Oh, yeah.
5.
Okay.
Out of 5 Ashabtis, which is what Konshu was imprisoned in. What do we give the episode?
2. 2 Ashabtis. 1.5. 1 crumbling broken one.
That's.
I was thinking 2 as well.
I'm gonna say 2, but one of them is a Chinese knockoff.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was rough. There were too many tropey things that I was grinding my teeth while they were happening. So every time I ground my teeth, they lose in a Shafty. So that's definitely they definitely lost. We should have started out of 10. 2 out of 10. Does that make it what? 1 out of 5? 1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'm good at math. Look at that.
5. Okay, so
1 out of
the
5.
average would be 1.5, right?
That's right.
Okay.
1.666 repeating, of course. Yeah, no, it's rough, but hopefully they get 3 episodes to turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, they're long too. So the format is kind of movie-like. They have a lot of time to tell story.
Oh, okay. So here, I will leave with a positive before I go. The production value on the show is fantastic. Like, I don't like the Mr. Knight suit either, but it looks well put together. The Moon Knight costume is insane. Konshu looks amazing. You cannot tell that he's not there. Like, all of the production values, and then traveling around. Yes, they're probably shooting in Jordan. I know they get a lot of tax breaks for shooting in Jordan as opposed to shooting in Egypt and such, but everything looks really, really good. They've spent some money, as they tend to do with these Marvel shows. So I will give it that. It's a beautiful looking show.
And it's so refreshing that it takes place outside of North America.
Right?
Love that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And
Well,
they're continuing with the Arabic pop music.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they did shoehorn in some traditional Arabic yodeling by a woman.
They did. Was that on the cruise?
Oh, yeah.
The boat cruise? Yeah.
Yeah. It's over and over like scenes of like the pyramids.
Listen, I was trying to be positive. We just found a way to
That's okay.
turn
We're all shit on this podcast.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
No, fine. And we're shitting on the show. I'm okay with it because I'm not a
Yeah.
fan. And it seems pretty popular, so I don't know. We'll have to see where it goes from here.
So if
3
you
more
loved
weeks,
it,
babies.
yeah. Do you know what? If you loved it just
Yeah.
as much as we did, let us know. Comment on the video, leave us a message, email us at fullvolumepod@gmail.com. You can find this episode and all of the other episodes, and specifically our Scream tier list on our YouTube channel.
I'm gonna go watch it right now.
Honestly, Scream 3 deserves its tier. Don't you worry about where we placed it. That is exactly where it should be for eternity. Don't argue with us. Anyway.
Pisses me off.
Where did Courtney Cox's bangs placed on the tier list? Was that a mitigating factor in the tier list?
F tier. Her bangs is an F tier.
F tier. They belong with Buffy Summers' small, tiny bangs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a mistake in the early 2000s. Who thought that was like okay, sorry, that's a tangent.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah, that is a shady ass tangent too. Oh yes, so you can find this podcast and all of our previous episodes wherever you keep your podcasts, wherever you find your favorite podcast by searching Full Volume Podcasts on the Comic Book Syndicate Network. I want to thank the lovely and talented Geoff, aka Messiah Complex Cosplay, for joining us and having so many opinions. So many good ones.
So many aligning opinions.
We were all on the same page on this one, which is a pretty rare bird. So I'm digging it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. And my always stellar 95% COVID-free host, Harvey Brent.
95% COVID-free, but also 95% covered in hives, Harvey Brent.
Also 95% so Jack ripping out of his own shirts, Harvey Brent. So that's...
The trick is to buy extra small.
Yeah. Hey, man. Do live your best extra small life. I'm fine with it.
I've not bought an extra small since the 8th grade. Anyway. Whatever. Yeah. Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep it loud.
Keep it at full volume.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.